Hi, my lady friend. Got a minute? Have you ever reached the end of the day feeling emotionally exhausted, but you fully can't explain where all of your energy went? You handled all the responsibilities, you showed up for people, you took care of things that need to be taken care of. But somewhere in the middle of carrying roles, responsibilities, expectations, work responsibilities, caregiving, and helping everyone else, parts of you became very tired too. And sometimes the strongest women are carrying depletion no one else can see. This month, inside of Tapestry by Design, we've been talking about balance and boundaries. And today, I simply want to pause with you for a gentle reflection. Where has your energy actually been going lately? Not where you wish it was going, not where you think it should be going, but where is it honestly going in your life? Because balance does not always mean every part of life receives equal attention at the same time. Different seasons require different things from us. But sometimes we become so focused on functioning that we stop noticing ourselves. And sometimes we don't fully realize where our energy is going until we intentionally pause long enough to look at it honestly. So today, I want to walk you through a simple reflective activity. So the activity that we're going to do today is called My Life Buckets Reflection. So what I've done is I've created some buckets that have certain areas of our lives that we can imagine as a series of buckets. And each bucket represents an area of your life that receives emotional, mental, physical, or spiritual energy. Now, when you are going through the activity, you will find in the freebie that there are some extra buckets that you can use, that you can cut out. So if your buckets do not mirror this in your life and you have other areas that you pay closer attention to, then you are able to write those areas on the blank buckets. Now we have buckets for work, career, family and caregiving, faith and spiritual life, creativity, health and wellness, rest, friends and relationships, fun and joy, and personal growth. So I want you just to reflect for a minute on these buckets. There is one that I want to add because I am working on a doctoral degree in Christian counseling, and I feel like that needs to be one of my buckets. So I'm going to just put doctoral work. And I'm just putting school because that's going to be a bucket that I'm adding to what I have going on in my life as part of my life buckets. Okay, so now that you're looking over the buckets and you're noticing which areas of your life have received most of your energy in this season, we want to rank it, or if you want to take a color and maybe color some that have if you have like maybe a highlighter and you want to color a certain area that might be, I'm just going to say, if you were doing it like with maybe a marker with red, yellow and green to kind of represent a stoplight, and so maybe red would be where you're finding that you're not spending time that you need to be spending time. Yellow might be more cautionary, that you might be able to be doing more things in that particular area, and green would represent that you're doing wonderfully in that area. So however you want to rank them, color them, or mark them, you're looking at which ones are, and I have this also to go with it, calling this my bucket of overflow. And the question for my bucket of overflow is, which bucket feels overflowing? Then for the bucket that might be more in the yellow cautionary area would be my withering bucket. We have flowers that aren't being watered like they should, and so now they're starting to wither a bit, and we are looking at the question of which bucket feels neglected. And then for my empty bucket, these flowers are actually dying, and so which bucket has received very little from me at all? So when you print this off and you have this in front of you, the way I'm going to use mine, I'm going to just sit it in the top real quick, and I'm pulling these down some so that I'm thinking about these as my categories. Just going to put them here again so you can see it, but I'm kind of taking them away from the camera a bit. Let me raise the camera and see if I can get a few more. Sorry, my camera is kind of acting a little funny because I tried to lift it up, and so it started lifting out of its base here. So I'm trying to tighten it back up. I'm going to let it up just a teeny more so you can see. You may not be able to see the whole thing, but you can see part of it. So there we go. All right. So let's pull our buckets out. My life buckets. And we just kind of have them where we can find them. So for me, I can't really speak for other people, but for me, I'm very visual. And then plus I'm an educator. So a lot of times I'm thinking about ways to manipulate things and engage, because this helps me to better process things. So that's why you see that it's more of a visual. And I certainly hope if this is an activity that resonates with you, you welcome it and use it for yourself periodically. So now that we've asked ourselves those questions, we're thinking about which of our buckets are overflowing, which one of them is neglected, and which one of them might be receiving very little from me at all. So as I stated about the additional buckets, you're putting those in. Now what you want to make sure is you want to choose one overflowing bucket where you may need to gently pull back this week. So we don't want to, even though we may have several overflowing buckets, several withering buckets, and several empty buckets, we don't want to get so overwhelmed where we're looking at, let's say we might have 5 under empty, and it's like, oh my gosh, I have 5 empty buckets. I'm not paying attention like I should be. So now I'm going to have to focus on that for these 5 buckets this week. No, we want it to be gentle when we think about this. So you want to think about 1, 2 at the most, which ones you think you might be able to pay a little bit more attention to. So after you rank them, and I'm just doing this kind of as I'm thinking about it in my life. So I feel like my working career, I'm giving a lot to, because I'm trying to build a business, and so I'm spending so much time on working with that. I'm moving friendships away for right now. Because of the season of life I'm in, my daughter is grown, and my husband and I, we take care of each other, of course, but I'm not going to say my caregiving is necessarily neglected. I think it's a bucket of overflow because we take care of each other. But I will say there was a season in my life where I had to care for my father after my mother passed away, and then my dad did well for some years after she passed away, and then he ended up having a stroke, and we took care of him full time. And so that was a time that I had to really, for 5 years, to give a lot of caregiving. So I'm kind of going to put that here because it's not really a problem. And when I say problem, I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm not seeing it as anything that's withering or it's empty, because like I said, I thank God for right now. Our health is doing pretty well, and I don't have to actually really do a lot with caregiving. I do babysit my granddaughter, but of course I love doing that, and I do that whenever I can help her parents out. So, but I feel like I would be overflowing in that area. Rest. I will tell you I get rest, but I don't think I'm getting the best rest because just sometimes, thinking about, trying to run a business, thinking about the fact that I'm in a different season where I'm older now. So, not that that's a bad thing, but sometimes I don't rest as well as I used to. So I think that's going to kind of go under withering. So I'm going to just move these down and just kind of place it here. So I think I'm going to say that's withering. Health and wellness, I know I can almost say empty, and that's really, I would say more physical, not necessarily wellness, emotional. I try very hard to work on my emotional wellness and mental wellness. But we know that all of that kind of goes together: mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. And I know I'm not doing as well as I should with my physical, whether it's not getting enough exercise, not drinking enough water. I know I'm not doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and put health and wellness under empty, because I definitely know that that's not an area that's overflowing, and it probably is more of on the empty side. Friendships and relationships. I love friends. I love having relationships with people. I know that because of sometimes the seasons of life that we're in, sometimes we don't get a chance to spend as much time as we'd like with the people that we love. But I don't think I'm withering or I'm empty from it, because I take these relationships very seriously, and I try to give myself to them, not to the point where I'm crossing boundaries or, not being balanced, but to the point where I will try very hard to check on people that I care about, try to get together when we can. Like I said, I just know sometimes life is a little busy, but I don't feel like that is a bucket that's withering or empty, so I'm going to put that under bucket of overflow. Creativity, oh my goodness, I'm always creating something. I decided a few years ago to jump back into creating things. I've always loved being creative, and I think part of that is the educator that's in me. I used to do a lot of creative things with my students, and even when I wasn't teaching and on the administrative side, I still tried to do creative things with my faculty so they could see that, no matter how old we are, we can still do those creative things. And a lot of times I was hoping they were taking that back, those types of things back to the classroom. So I'm going to say, yeah, it's overflowing with creativity. I'm always creating something, whether it's something on Canva, whether it's some sort of project, whether I'm creating handmade journals, I'm always creating. So I'm going to say that's overflowing. Fun and joy, I'm going to kind of say that's empty. I do like to have fun and I do like to have joy in my life, but I don't think I'm balancing that very well with what I'm doing on this side. Sometimes it's not allowing me to do, even though creativity is fun and it gives me joy, it's almost complete opposite, because I'm creating things for my business, so I enjoy creating it, I have fun creating it, but then I'll put a lot of pressure on myself because I may think, oh, I should have had that done by now, or this is taking too long, or I need to do this, and so then it takes the fun out of it. So I think that's where I'm going to put fun and joy by empty. Doctoral work in school, I love working on the doctoral program that I'm doing, because I'm focusing my dissertation on identity, and so almost all of the work that I'm doing, whether it's within my business, I like to do a lot of identity work within that, as well as, when you're thinking about how to help people stop, pause, reset, and refocus, we want to think about our identity. So I'm saying all that to say, I'm going to kind of say it's withering, not because I don't enjoy it, but because sometimes I'll get on this path of just like writing my papers and, getting things organized and ready for school. And then sometimes I'll take like a few weeks off. I am on an online program, so it's kind of more at my pace. And then I'll get back into it really heavy and take maybe, days of just really working on writing and really thinking. And then days, sometimes it's like I need to pull back from it. So I definitely know that I need to work more on that, because I'm trying to now start thinking more about the dissertation part of it, and I'm trying to collect my research and thinking about, as I stated, how I'm going to tie this work into the work that I already do. So that's the fun part, because I'm able to do that, but I do feel like I'm kind of letting that slide at times, not all the time. Like I said, I do have weeks that I'm just on it, but there are weeks that I take off too, so I need to really focus more on that. And with it being the summer, I have intentionally worked that into my calendar, since I'm not doing the kind of work I normally do during the school season. I'm definitely making sure that I'm taking time to work on this. Faith and spiritual life. Again, this all kind of aligns with my doctoral work. It aligns with the work that I'm doing within my business. I love learning more about God and walking along the journey with Jesus and my growth. However, I think I can kind of say it's kind of more in between, because there are times, it's kind of like the doctoral work, I will be immersed in the Word, immersed in finding activities that can help me to know more about the people of the Bible and how maybe my life is similar to some of the situations that they've gone through. And then there are times I'll pull back. So I will say, now you notice I put the doctoral work kind of between withering and empty, but for my faith, I feel like I'm between overflow and withering. Personal growth, I kind of feel like it's in the withering category, because for me, my personal growth has several different areas that go under it. It has my work and career. It has my doctoral work. It has my faith and spiritual growth. It has my creativity. So I kind of feel like my personal growth kind of envelops, each of those areas I just named. And so I'm going to put it kind of between the withering and the empty. So at this point, I really don't have any other buckets, I feel like, that are real big areas of my life right now. These buckets really represent my life right now. So as you see, this is kind of like my mat, and you see now where I have put my buckets and how they relate to my life. Now, what I want you to do after you've done this part is I want you to think about that overflowing bucket that you might want to pull a little bit away from because you're maybe doing too much of it. I really think that I'm not going to pull away. That's not what I'm doing here. But I do feel like I'm going to have to, because I'm thinking about I'm building a business. I do want to be a little bit more intentional to only be working on certain days. Like right now, I work 7 days a week around the clock. And I really want to intentionally pull back a little bit and give myself a framework or a structure where I pay attention to certain areas of my business on certain days. And I worked that out on yesterday. I made out a schedule. And there are going to be some days that's going to kind of be my days that I do my videos or creating them, coming up with the information I want to share in them. Then there's going to be a day where I do my creativity, whether that's something on Canva, whether that's something that I'm making with my hands, whether it's a journal. My Wednesdays would be my day that I'm going to work on my doctoral work. And my Thursdays, I'm kind of taking a little bit of each of those, and I guess what I don't get really done, maybe Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I will reflect on Thursday to kind of catch up or pay more attention to some area that I need to really work on. And then on Fridays, I totally try to take Fridays off. I'm not saying that I won't ever work on Fridays, but I truly want to kind of let my Friday to be my free day. If I do work, it'll be something light, administrative something, but it's nothing that I want it to be heavy. So you could already hear that I've made a plan already to pull back on my work and career, because I feel like that it needs to overflow, but I think I need to have some balance and some boundaries in that area. My neglected. So what do I want to there's several things I really want to work on with this, but I've already kind of told you without the plan for the doctoral part, so I think that's going to be one of those buckets. And then my rest. I think intentionally I need to do more physically to help make me tired, if that makes sense, in the good way. To actually take some time to just say, I'm going to go for my walk. I'm going to, do something different that's physical. I have a bike that I bought a few years ago. Unfortunately, not too long after I bought it, it went on flat, and I just haven't figured out how to, because I don't know how to take the wheel off to take it anywhere. So I'm hoping I might be able to find somebody that can come and fix it for me. But I definitely want to get back into riding my bike. And I feel like I think it's not that I'm not tired, that I can't rest, but I think because I have so much on my mind all the time, business-wise, I don't feel like I get good rest because of that. And so I think intentionally I want to figure out a plan that's going to help me get better rest, but that's going to help me focus more on my faith and spiritual life and my personal growth, that I think it's going to help me get better rest. And I'm just going to have to be intentional with that. And I'm not just saying rest, because I want to also say something too. I can go to sleep, and most of the time I can stay asleep, but then the first thing that I wake up in the morning is usually jumping on a task I need to do. And that's a good thing at times, but I really think I need to ease myself into that, especially since it's kind of, it's the summer and things are a little bit more laid back, where maybe I may ease into it without just getting into a hard task at the very beginning, whether that's reading a verse in the Bible, maybe doing some journaling, maybe doing something, a quick walk in the morning. I think that's going to also help with the rest, because rest is physical, but we know that it's very hard. I don't even think it's a way to rest your brain. So the only way to do that is sometimes to do the activities that are fun, that are going to not be something that you're so heavily focused that you're stressed out about it. I think that's what I'm trying to say. And then my last part, which of course is my empty bucket. This is where I definitely, both of these, I know I want to work on, but I'm telling you to do one or two, so I'm going to do one or two. So I'm going to, I think, intentionally work a little bit more on the health and wellness with the walking and drinking the water. These are important to me too, but I think I'm going to do the rest. So when I said one or two, I'm saying let's not do two in the withering and two in the empty. Let's do one withering and one empty, which would be two, so that you won't have so much on your plate for this upcoming week. Because remember, we're only doing this starting off for the week. And then I want this to be maybe an activity or an exercise that you come back to, especially when you start to feel that your balance is starting to get off again. Because maybe if you see it in this way, you're going to be more intentional to make sure that you balance your areas of your life that we know we have to tackle, but we want to balance them in a better way. So once you've done your exercise, I want you to think about one small realistic action that you can take. You heard me kind of give my actions already. And then one thing I definitely want you to remember is this activity is not about perfection. It's about awareness, reflection, and making one gentle shift at a time. My hope, my friend, is that my Life Buckets reflection simply helps you become more aware of where your energy has been going and where you may need a little more care in this season. I also created a free printable with the directions to this activity to go along with today's reflection. So if you'd like your own visual version that you can print, write on, or revisit throughout the week, you can download it using the link below this video. And before we close, I just want to remind you of this. You are allowed to care for yourself too, even while serving, even while leading, even while showing up for others. Scripture reminds us in Matthew 11:28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Rest is not weakness. Rest is necessary. And remember, my lady friend, your life is a beautiful tapestry, and every thread deserves attention eventually, including you.